Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is a new year and I'm hoping that pretty soon, fingers crossed, that we can go ahead and get some gardening started here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a little bit of anxiety knowing that every time I walk in the grocery store, there's not exactly what I'm looking for. So, again, welcome to my channel, Gardening with Tammy. It is a new year, 2022. It's been a while since I've made any type of videos. I've been so busy. Please forgive me if I look all dried and withered. Because I am. So I just wanted to first say thank you for those who have looked at my videos and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. This is something that I don't know if any of you know my journey as I had started in this, but I always wanted to, go into gardening. So when we moved, I just decided, okay, it's now or never. Just did not want to be the type of person that always says, hey, I'm going to do this, hey, I'm going to do that, and just never follow through. So with that being said, I wanted to first kind of go over some things with everyone. Excuse me, I'm in my office. I would rather be outside filming. It may be a pretty day to some, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't get sick because the temperatures here in Tennessee have been crazy. So I definitely don't want to go outside and sit and get sick and have to deal with that as well. So, again, I just kind of want to talk to you guys. So if you've ever found yourself in a situation like I feel like that we're in now, this is the best time to start your garden. There are a lot of things that are happening with, the supply of vegetables, good quality vegetables that you can, purchase in the stores. I, for one, every time I go into the grocery store, I feel just overwhelmed because there is not really much that I can choose from. Like the selection is limited. I went into a store and looking for sweet potatoes because we're starting to meal prep, and the quality of sweet potatoes. I mean, I was just kind of blown away by what they had, and I mean, it was like looks like someone stuck forks in them. They were looking dried, and I just kept thinking to myself, I cannot wait until this growing year begins because this is just not acceptable. And I mean, I know everyone is feeling stressed during these times, and I'm not saying anything bad about anyone, as far as, the grocery chain or anything like that. I just know what I'm looking for to put in my meals and to feed my family and myself. So this year I wanted to kind of go into a very planned growth year. And last year I just kind of grew everything. I just kind of went through and grew every particular type of seed that I had. Not really having a plan as to what I wanted to grow, how much I wanted to grow of it, kind of experimenting and seeing what my family will and wouldn't eat. So that was kind of, like an experiment, gave some to neighbors, still have a freezer full of food that I can't just seem to get rid of, mainly tomatoes. I'm the one who loves tomatoes. The rest of the family, not so much. But there are only so many tomatoes that I can eat. So this year I wanted to be a little bit more planned. So if you found yourself in the same spot as me, just kind of like just growing multiple things and really no plan, I would say that this is the best year to go ahead and put a plan forward as to what it is that you would like to do. So one of the things that I kind of ran into as well when, going to the grocery stores is purchasing like condiments and all types of seasoning. As far as we use a lot of spicy ingredients in this house. And just I noticed by purchasing that stuff over and over and over a year, it gets very costly. And one thing that I do want to at least try to do this year is try to cut down on some of the cost as to what we purchase and just try it on my own. So my wonderful husband purchased me a all-in-one dehydrator, air fryer. So I'm really excited about that. I want to at least give that a try and try to dehydrate some of my peppers as well as some of the tomatoes and some of the other things that I grow to kind of cut down, like I said, on that cost that you would go to the store, and if you buy like one little bitty container of seasoning, that's like $4. I mean, it's the prices are, this inflation and everything is going up. So I kind of wanted to absorb some of that cost and keep the money inside of the house as much as possible. So that's my contribution to my family and some neighbors as well. I'm pretty sure I'll be giving stuff away all the time, which I have no problem with doing. So enough of my rambling. I just kind of wanted to, show you, what I will be concentrating on growing this year. So I've been looking back at, past videos and stuff that I've grown. And again, like I said, I just purchased in seeds and just grew whatever it was that I felt like I wanted to grow. Well, this year I noticed that we only eat really 4 types of tomatoes. One being an heirloom tomato that I absolutely love. One being a small variety tomato, one being a medium, and then a beefsteak. I mean, that's pretty much all that we really ate as far as a family. Now, me, I can just, walk around and eat tomatoes like they're grapes. But for the rest of the family, what I noticed is that a lot of my product was going to the trash because they wouldn't eat them. When I cook them in a meal, they kind of scoot them to the side and wouldn't really eat them. And so I wanted to concentrate a little bit more on what we ate. So I sat down with the family and found out exactly what type of vegetable that they wanted to eat, what vegetable they absolutely did not like, and kind of go from there. Now, I don't have this in here with me, but one of the crops that we grow, that we eat a lot of, is garlic. So I purchased a box maybe about this size full of garlic. This isn't it. This is just seeds that's downstairs that I do have to plant. We eat a lot of garlic, a lot of onions. We do consume a lot of green veggies, as well as I, for one, love squash. So and we eat a lot of salad. And so some of the things that I've noticed, what we eat is what I'm going to try to incorporate in growing. Now, some of the stuff that I purchased, and I did purchase some seeds from Baker Creek because they did have things that my gardener did not. And I'm shortly starting to be like, okay, let's branch out a little bit. And so I wanted to at least start a hot pepper section in my garden. Again, because we spend so much money on cayenne pepper, black pepper, just jalapenos, just stuff like that, that I really wanted to concentrate and make my own ingredients. And there's a reason for me wanting to make my own ingredients. Like I said, I look tired, I work a lot, and so I'm always looking for a way to contribute, give back, as well as just grow myself, as a person. So I'll go into one of the things that I do want to start growing are hot peppers. So a couple of years ago, when we first moved here, I did start ghost peppers. Was not a fan myself. I tried a fully green one and I needed milk. So I'm just definitely not a fan of those. I know that. My husband wasn't really a fan, and just let's not even talk about our kid eating it. She's not going to do it. But what I did find was that I did give some to neighbors, and I gave a lot of them to co-workers at work, and they loved them. Well, I wanted to grow that again, but not as much as I did before. I think I had like 1 or 2 plants, and it produced a enormous crop. But by me wanting to make my own actual ingredients, I'm going to incorporate that back into it. So neighbors, if you love hot peppers, look out. Pretty sure I have a lot, to hand out to you. But this is one of the peppers that I wanted to start growing. Now, I'm pretty sure I have not showed any of these to my husband. I'm pretty sure he's going to look at me and say, I'm not eating that. I can already hear it in my head, so I'm just really about to laugh. But one of the first ones that I definitely want to try is this right here, the Death Spiral pepper. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this pepper. I heard that it's really good as far as heat wise. So I wanted to give it a try. Just looking at the picture itself, I'm kind of like, yeah, I probably won't be eating that. But for those who like it, I mean, I'll grind it into seasoning, because when I do cook stuff like fried chicken, I kind of like a little spice to it. I don't like the, you know, non-seasoned, sorry, chicken. I do like a little kick to it, not too much, but just enough so that you can know that, oh, this has some flavor to it. And I think that this may actually help. So I'm going to put this to the side, try not to throw them on the floor. Now, another pepper that I am interested in putting in my crop today. Oh, before I go there, I'll probably grow about 2 of these, 2 plants, so that I have to go ahead and get started. I'm so behind on starting my plants because I have other things that I have going. So I at least want to go ahead and get this started, because I think our last frost date is like the beginning of April. So, you know, just for the things that take the longest amount of time to produce, I want to go ahead and get these started. Now, I'm pretty sure someone, when they see this video, meaning my husband, he's going to say, no, absolutely don't start them in a house. But we have to go ahead and get them started because it does take a longer growing period. And another one that I did want to try was the Trinidad scorpion pepper. Heard great things about this one as well. Now, I know a lot of you are probably saying, for a person who doesn't really want to eat these, why are you growing them? Again, I want to make my own seasoning. And again, I love the fact that I can get a nice piece of crispy food, whether it's shrimp, whether it's chicken, whether it's fish, and have a little kick to it. So, and I'll be growing 2 of these as well. Another one that I am going to try, and I've heard things about this pepper. I always try to try it just in case it's something that I really like. And I'm going to try it anyway. I heard that this would pretty much bring a grown man to his knees. But it is the Carolina, what is it, the Reaper? Yeah, Carolina Reaper pepper. So I'll be growing 2 of those as well. Also, I purchased the Apocalypse Scorpion pepper that I'm going to incorporate in there. So I am going to start these. Now, on the back of the packet, it does tell you exactly what to do. So the planting instructions are on the back of the actual packet. And, you know, it tells you to start indoors in a bright light 12 weeks before the last frost date. So my time is kind of like clicking here where I need to start these. And I do have grow lights that I use when I started my plants inside the house last year. Another pepper that is just a simple pepper. A lot of people eat these, of course, on a daily basis. And it's just the jalapeno pepper. So more than likely, I will be planting at least 4, growing at least 4 of these, just so we can have enough food for the entire year. So that's part of my experiment to see if, you know, that would actually keep us the entire year and cut down on our grocery bill. Because I don't know the last time that any of you went to the grocery store, but 2 things in a actual cart equals $200. So I definitely want to at least try and experiment with that to see if that's something that would actually help us. Now, as far as other peppers, now because I am a type of person where heat is definitely, you know, one of those things where I'm like, you know, okay, I might. I did purchase, and I'm looking for it, I should probably have this together prior, but I am going to grow a tamed jalapeno pepper, And that's something that, you know, may help me with some of the heat to kind of like cut down on some of it. So that is also one of the things that I am going to grow, and I just can't seem to find it. And we're just going to move on. It's just jalapeno peppers, but it's just tamed. Now, one of the other things that I found to be very hardy are greens. So up until 2 months ago, I still had greens outside growing. Did I go out there and pick them? No, I did not. And the reason why I did not go out there and pick them, because it was just too cold. I tried to clean up my garden, and I got extremely sick from sweating and being out in the cold, and I'm not making that mistake again. So I was like really sick, and I don't want to feel like that again, ever again. So I'm definitely not going out there, but there is dead now, but pretty sure to be coming back. So again, like some of the things that I do want to incorporate in my garden, is, you know, early in the springtime. One, of course, I know I've showed you this before, but it's arugula. I love the taste of arugula, so I'll definitely be starting that this year. A lot of green, cilantro, all types of greens, as far as like mustard greens is definitely is one of the things that I will be growing this year as well, along with kale starting in the spring. Now, the thing about kale is it is hardy, it'll last, but I would prefer to start it earlier in the year versus when it's completely hot. Just my preference. If it works for you to grow it in the warmer temps, then by all means do so. Broccoli, definitely one of those things that I want to grow, and I'll probably have about 4 or 5 of these plants that I'll actually grow for the upcoming year. And of course, let's not forget one of my favorites, and that's the sugar snap pea. I'll probably grow about 3 or 4 of these just so that I can get a good use out of them, because when the temperatures get warmer, they don't do well in warmer temperatures. So this is definitely something, it's cold tolerant, that you can have growing, you know, when the temperatures kind of warm up a little bit to where they're not freezing, but enough for the actual, you know, plant to survive and you to get a good supply of these. And another bean that I'll be growing that I absolutely love, did not think, just looking at it, I was like, yo, no. But I grew these last year, and they're called the dragon tongue beans, and I absolutely love the beans. I don't cook them. I eat them raw. Bring them in, wash them, and just snack on them. My obsession with the dragon tongue beans is I think I have about 10 packets. That's how much I love of those beans. Now, with the dragon tongue beans, I'll probably grow about 15 to 20 plants. You know, in order for me to get a good harvest. So I will be expanding my garden this year as far as with the amount of containers. I may add a few more raised beds just so that I can accommodate. Right now I have 6 raised beds. So I may, depending on the space, I may actually grow some in containers or just expand the raised beds. And cabbage, I prefer, honestly, the red cabbage. And that's because I can cook it in different meals. You can make it with egg rolls or whatever the case may be. To me, it's a little bit better. I'm not really a cabbage person, but I love the red cabbage. Now, if you are, that's absolutely fine. I will be growing some, but not that much. We don't eat that much of it, and I would literally be the only person to eat it. So that's the reason why I probably grow maybe 1, maybe 2, but preferably 1. And so another thing that I wanted to try this year was celery. Now, by us being on a I wouldn't say a health kick, but more of a conscious of what we're consuming kick. I wanted to try to at least incorporate some things like for our daughter, which she probably still won't eat it, but at least try to put peanut butter on it or something like that to kind of get her to eat it. I know she's a teenager. It's so hard for me to actually get her to eat anything. They're pretty much stuck on what they want to eat, when they want to eat, and that's if they eat it all, being that she's a girl. So it's very hard to get her to try something new or to even just eat. So another thing that I didn't really enjoy growing last year. It did well. It's just that I don't think that I had enough space. And so I took up a big portion of my raised beds, and I really need to probably incorporate these into either containers or just a bed of its own, and that's corn. So I am the only one who would actually eat it off the cob in this house. Everyone else prefers to have theirs cut off the cob in order for them to eat it. Can we say spoil? So I think that I will be doing a good majority of these, mainly because you can freeze it, you can, shuck it and freeze it, and it beats the can. I can definitely tell you that. So everything that I'm showing you tastes way better when you grow it yourself versus getting it in the store and it's kind of been sitting there. So you definitely don't want that to be one of the options. Now, another thing that I will be growing this year is carrots. Now, I can tell you that I planted carrots last year. They're still out there, bad Tammy, because I haven't went to go and get them, mainly because we have a Mr. Rabbit that went out there and, I'm assuming times are hard for them too, and ate the tops off of every last carrot. So I would literally have to go out there and just dig and dig and dig to find my carrot. So that would be something that I'll do, and more than likely it'll not be good. I know the colder it gets, I think the sweeter they get, but that's one of the reasons why I haven't touched it, because I'll have to actually dig in the entire bed to try to locate the carrots. And yes, that's lazy on my part, and I probably should have went ahead and got those out of there. But I'll definitely be growing carrots again, and I have to find a way to keep them out my garden so that I can keep some of what I'm growing. Another thing that I do want to grow this year that I did not grow last year was chives. So I've come to appreciate these a whole lot here recently, especially when you're going to the store and they're really, not onion, there are no onions there. So you pick up chives and it kind of pretty much becomes your onion. So I think for the most part, I will be growing the same things that I grew last year, but a smaller amount as far as herbs and everything. One thing I do want to incorporate that we eat a lot of is rice. We eat a lot of rice. And I try to make sure that it's brown rice that, we do eat, but we do eat a lot of rice. So I definitely want to make sure that I have enough, which is probably going to take up a lot of room again. More than likely, I'll just expand to kind of get it together. Now, last year, one of the things that I grew that just grew so much, we couldn't even eat enough of it. And someone was purchasing it at the store, and they weren't supposed to. But we have so much of it, and it did extremely well. It produced all the way to the end, and that's okra. If you've not ever grown okra, grow it if you like it. It produced probably about I don't know. I'm sorry. It was a blank. It was too much. If I had time, I'll walk you through the house and open my freezer, I still have okra. I mean, like Ziploc bags filled to the top, 3 and 4 bags of okra, not small bags. So it produced a lot of okra, a lot more than we could eat, and it was only 2 plants. So this year I just might want to only grow one plant. That one plant itself, I'm pretty sure, will give us the exact amount that we would need. Um, so, you know, some of the other things that I will, of course, I'll be continuing to grow. Not so many, because I think I had all types of bell peppers out there last year. But I'm going to focus more so on the larger. This is the Keystone bell pepper. So I'll probably have about 4 or 5, maybe 6 of these out there growing so that we can have enough bell peppers. Now, this next thing that I am going to grow, really, for some reason, I don't know why I feel this way, but I do, and I'm trying to get over it. But one of the things that I am going to grow this year, I just don't like the way that they look for some reason. I don't know. It just, thinking about it, my flesh is kind of crawling. It just kind of creeps me out. But I'm trying to get past that. I'm like starting to itch. Sorry. It just creeps me out. But I love to eat them. So it's sunflower seeds. Just looking at the plant, just I don't know. I have to get over that. I really do, considering that I'm going to be touching it. So I'm trying to work past that. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just, my flesh is crawling now, just kind of thinking about it. But sunflowers. So I will definitely be growing those, mainly so that we can roast them and everything, and actually, you know, have them. I don't know how well I'm going to do with touching them. I know I cannot depend on people in the house to touch them, so I'm going to have to find a way to touch them and get it done. Again, like some of the peppers that I will be growing is Tabasco, you know, peppers. We do consume a lot of Tabasco, mainly because I make homemade hot wings a lot. So that's like my go-to type of sauce that I would prefer to use. It's like a Tabasco sauce. So looking forward to making my own. So I'll be growing quite amount of these, probably like 4 or 5 plants. And one plant that I'm trying to get away from, you know, any type of medication as far as, you know, for headaches or anything like that. So I know feverfew, you know, is one of those things that you can take, because if you have migraines, you know, I've heard that that helped a lot. Don't have it here yet. I did order it as far as seeds, but that's one of the things that I do want to incorporate in the garden. And another one is a toothache plant. Now, I've seen people grow these, and, you know, give it close up. And I've heard they're really good with numbing. You know, just any type of discomfort, you can kind of like just pop one in that area. And judging from the videos, it looks like it works. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And another thing, of course, that I really enjoyed growing last year, a lot of this is the same. That's the reason why I'm not bringing it up. It's just a lot of peppers, a lot of different types of peppers. So as far as fruit this year, I will be going back to the Sugar Baby watermelons. I really enjoyed them. They're small, they're personal, you know, just little bitty to yourself types of watermelon. That way I don't have to try to cut a watermelon up and, you know, try to figure out what I'm going to do with it, or just say, okay, anybody want watermelon, which is something that I could do. I just found it better to grow them because they're a lot smaller. Just kind of looking through what all I have here as far as tomatoes and everything. So this is like one of the tomatoes that I would be growing. Like I guess to me this is like a small tomato. Some people may say this is a medium-sized tomato. So this is definitely one of the tomato plants that I'll be growing this year. Back in the packet it says about 80 days. And so I at least want to go ahead and try to get these started. It's 8 to 12 weeks before the last frost date. So I definitely want to go ahead and get that started. A lot of onions. I will be growing a lot of onions this year. We use probably about 6 onions out of the week. I think my kids could probably tell you that onions and garlic are my go-to. When I make homemade garlic bread, a lot of times they won't touch it at all. Well, some like it. Crazy thing about it is that the teenager loves the garlic bread. I can't put enough garlic on it for her, and she'll absolutely eat that without a problem. So I'll definitely be doing that and starting some actual parsley. We do cook with this a lot. I would say that every meal, I'm putting parsley in it. Every meal. I love the taste. The only person in the house that does not like the taste, of course, the teenager. So, but those are some of the things that I'll be growing this year. And one thing that I felt as if I was missing out on, because I've not ever decided to grow anything remotely close to this. Anything remotely close to this. I've just not ever been a flower person. I like flowers. I just never said I want to grow them. I mean, it was just never one of those things where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to grow flowers or, you know, something like that. I've just not ever wanted to have a hand in growing them. So I've put together like a large variety, and also to attract the pollinators. You know, that way we'll get the amount of food that it is that we're needing. So one of the things that I am going to put out there are marigolds. Now I can't remember if they are a deterrent for rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. Don't hold me to that. But I am going to incorporate these out there for you. You know, if you're a gardener out there and it's not a deterrent, that's let me know. I would rather know than say something that is not true. And I'm also going to incorporate some radishes, you know, in the garden as well. I do have a whole lot more of a selection as far as with cucumbers. I am going to try my hand this year in poppies. So I, again, not ever try to grow anything. Well, I take that back. I grew nasturtiums last year and they did pretty well. So I was picking those and putting them in my husband's tea. So I did grow flowers. I forgot all about that. I have. And they did pretty well. So I guess these may be the same. I don't know. If they're not, then they're not. And another thing that I will be growing is lemon balm. So that and mint. I mean, it's a mint, but it's just, you know, different taste. One of the things that I noticed by me having headaches often, which migraines, is that I have to have something to kind of settle my stomach. And instead of taking medication all the time, I wanted to at least try to incorporate something naturally so that I can drink, like, sorry, I'm sitting by the window, cars are going by, squirrel, tea. To try to get that calming feeling. So I'll definitely be trying that this year as well. And I'm also going to try my hand in a variety of different other types of flowers. So I'm trying to do something that I have not done before. Also, I wanted to show you guys this. So when I first saw these two particular types of onions, I got excited. I'll get back to the flowers. When I first started to research and everything, and I saw these onions, I mean, I was like, oh, onion heaven. So these are the two that I am going to grow this year as well. So I'm hoping to have that same smile on my face when I harvest them. I know something's wrong with me. I get it. But another type of flower that I did want to try my hand in this year. I can't wait to smell them and see what they smell like. Now, my only worry, for those of you who have flowers, for those of you who garden, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you're growing your flowers. That one particular insect that just comes through and just decimates, just kills everything. And that's the Japanese beetle. I am really worried about growing these, and they're smelling nice. I can bring them in the house. And then I go out there, I don't have anything. So last year, those pesky, before I get to that, chamomile is also one of those that I'll be growing. So that's pretty much it, other than, you know, trying my hand in asparagus. I know they take a long period of time. But back to the actual pest, they were very vicious last year. So I started last year, I think I had 2 or 3 grape plants. The stems, one produced grapes. The other ones, you know, need a little bit more time. First year, that's fine. They, you know, take some time to, you know, extend and everything. So they were all over them. I mean, one in particular plant, I went out there one day when I got off work, and I could have just lost it in the garden. I mean, it was just, they just ate every leaf all the way to its skeleton. And that was very, very disappointing for me. But one thing that I did find that killed them on the spot. Now, if you're, you know, one of those people who say, you know, don't kill them, and you might want to close your ears and, you know, close your eyes, whatever you have to do. Because I did. Every chance that I would get, I would squish them. And they're not the best flyers, so they, you know, they're kind of heavy and flying. But one thing that I purchased, I don't like using any form of chemicals or anything, but this particular time I did. Neem oil. If you're a gardener and you've not ever used neem oil, this is going back on whatever it is that I said. Yes, I'm still learning here. However, neem oil. Neem oil, one shot. They were on the ground. I didn't have to chase them. They can be in mid-air, and I would spray them with neem oil. Now, neem oil, you do have to, you know, dilute it, but they would die completely. I mean, just hit the ground and they're gone. Or some people say, you know, you can use soap and water. I don't want them to come back and eat anything. I'm sorry. I invested a lot of time out there. I kind of want to at least get something. And the leaves on, you know, the grapes were beautiful. I mean, you go out there, you knock the Japanese beetles off, and then 2 more come back. So I wanted them to know that every time, which I know they don't know, this is just how I felt. Crazy. When they landed, I'm going to spray you. And there was just absolutely no questions about it. And, you know, not only they were all over my strawberries, they were all over the leaves. My beans, they were just everywhere. And I'm just like, every day I go out there, it's like, who are you? Why were you sent here? So that's definitely one of the things that you should get. Some neem oil diluted with water, and, you know, kind of get your regimen going. So I definitely plan on doing that this year. That's one of the things that I didn't do. Now, last year I did go out there and hand pick everything off, and I was tired, absolutely tired. So I want to at least try to work smarter, not harder. So I'll definitely be incorporating that. Another pest that I had to endure for the first time were the tomato hornworms. I don't like looking at them. Just now, just the hair just stood up on my back, but I don't like looking at them. I don't want them on anything. But they're fairly easy to get under control, a lot better than the actual Japanese beetle. So, okay, that's enough ranting about that. So just a little insight, if you're starting a garden, just know that you're going to have pests, whether it's rabbits, whether it's, you know, and I have a problem with the rabbit coming and the fox coming as well, trying to mark his territory inside of my garden, and that's like a whole nother thing, but I'll make another video on how to get rid of that as well. So one of the things that, if you don't know, and I think my gardener has started this, so when you order a certain amount of seeds from them, they'll give you a free packet. Well, Baker Creek was already doing that. So I ordered, when I ordered the seeds from Baker Creek, I did get a few freebies from Baker Creek. And these were the 2 freebies that came with my order. So I've not ever grown these before at all. Interested in growing it. Want to know what it tastes like. I mean, just curiosity. And this was the other one that came free. And as you can see, it has on there free seeds. So when you order a certain amount from Baker Creek, they do give you free seeds. I don't know about anyone else because these are the only places that I've really purchased seeds other than walking into like a Lowe's or Home Depot, but that's not often that I purchase my seeds from them. But they do give you free seeds, and I think Luke from my gardener did say he was going to roll that out as well. I did purchase some seeds from him just to replenish what I used last year. I know, addict. So I haven't gotten them yet, so I don't know if they're, you know, that is completely to fact, you know, the fact that he did that or not, because they haven't gotten here yet. They won't be here until Monday. But one of the things that I did purchase that my gardener was out of that my neighbor wanted me to try, I don't like beets. For those of you who can eat a regular beet, you know, hats off to you. I cannot, and that's mainly because growing up, we were forced to eat beets, the vinegar beets. I can't even eat vinegar to this day. Like, it was bad. So I don't like red beets at all. That's a bad memory for me. I tried getting over it. I tried tasting them again. I can't shake it. But one of my neighbors, Nicole, told me to try a different type of beet that I might like it. So I'll definitely be incorporating that this year into my garden to see if that's something that I like, and it's the golden beet. So I've heard, you know, she did tell me that they're a lot sweeter. You know, still has the health benefits to it as well. So I'll definitely be incorporating these into the garden this year, just to see if that's something that, you know, I like. If I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't, then I you know, won't do anything else with them, and I'll probably just give her the rest of these seeds. Say, here you go. But that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I'm going to try to be a little bit more structured in what I grow this year. That way I can kind of at least know. I know for a fact one thing that I want to grow, but I'm a little afraid of growing, and I don't have it in this bucket, but it is the ground cherries. Now, last year, I just wanted that plant to go away. I just could not deal with the production of that plant. It was just way too much with me working, and I have other things that I do outside of work. It was just too much. But if you're looking for a fruit, now they're delicious. It's a different taste. They're kind of like a pineapple grape type of thing. They're like a tomato, but they're really good. I just did not have the capacity to, I just couldn't keep up with it. It produced once it got started. I couldn't wait for the first one to drop. The first one dropped, I tasted, I liked it. I was giving them away to friends and let neighbors taste them. It was just too much. that plant itself produce probably pounds of cherries. And when I say pounds, it's enough. If you're into canning, if you know you're into making your own preserve, that's definitely something that you should try, mainly because it is very, 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 when I say very, it's not me being, flamboyant. It's really a good crop to grow if you're looking for canning or anything like that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I could talk all day about gardening. I hope that some of you out there, decide that you want to start your own garden this year. In that way, you can kind of grow your own. Whether you don't have to have a big space to start gardening, you can start small. And if you've never gardened before, I would tell you to start small. I mean, start small. You can get like a little bitty plant and, just have that little bitty plant, see how it goes for you. If it goes well, expand it. If you don't want to expand it, don't expand it. But I can tell you that nothing tastes like fresh, proud, than growing your own. I mean, it's definitely not the taste that you would think it would be. So just think about, you walk out to your balcony, your front porch, your back porch, if you have the space for it, your bigger garden, and you're growing the things that you know for a fact that you're going to eat. You're saving that money because you've already put the money into it. You've already put the money into it. So when you go out there and you grow it, sorry, my shirt is all wrinkled, but when you go out there and, you're growing it and it came from you, it's your, time. Also, if you work in a stressful job, a demanding job, it's nice to kind of peel back and go out there. When you get off work, if something has frustrated you, you go out there, you just kind of like get in your rhythm. And I'm telling you, someone said this to me before, and I was just kind of like, yeah, that doesn't sound like, that'll work, but it does. I wouldn't say that I have a stressful job, but I do have a job where it does require a lot on top of the other things that I do outside of work. So that's definitely something that you should start if you have a stressful job and you don't know how to kind of mellow out. Definitely start a garden. Peace, the love and care. Now, you can't start a garden and just say, okay, I'm starting a garden and never go out there again. I mean, it gives you what you give it. So if you give hard work, you get the reward of that hard work. I mean, it's just like everything else. I talked to several people, that have a garden, and I said, well, it's just not for me. And when I ask this one particular question, I just kind of sit there and be like, yeah, no, I don't do that. Well, my husband asked. So we were on vacation one time, and someone was talking about that they have a garden and they just really couldn't get what they wanted out of the garden. And my husband asked them, do you go out there every day to check on your crop? Do you go out there and make sure that your plants have water? And this person says no. And he looked at me, he looked back at them and said, she does. She goes out there every day, checks on it every day, in which I do. And we just, if you go back and look at the videos or check out my Instagram page, Gardening with Tammy, you'll see some of the things that when we came back from vacation, it was just out there. I mean, so we came back to a lot of food, but that's another, time for that. So just kind of like a hello 2022 to you guys. I hope that a lot of you do consider going out there and hitting it in the garden this summer. Grow some healthy vegetables and fruit for your family. I'm pretty sure they would enjoy that. You don't have to worry about, all of the sprays. You don't have to worry about the extra, and pesticides or anything that they put on anything. You know exactly what's going into it, and I'm telling you that you will feel a whole lot better knowing that your family is being fed off of something that you put into it. So I'll bid you guys adieu. Thank you so much for taking this long time to talk with me today about gardening. I really hope to see a lot of you out there, in your gardens and talking about gardening. This is definitely something that you can do. You can start in your community. If one person grows this one crop, another person grows this crop, or you can kind of just like interchange. But the best thing that you can do for your family and yourself as far as health wise is to get out there and at least try to grow something for you, especially with the demand that's happening right now. There are a lot of things that are happening in the world, and we might not quite understand exactly what's happening, but one thing that I can tell you is you'll know exactly what's happening in your garden. So again, thank you guys so much for taking the time out, listen to me rant and talk about last year and this year, what I'll be growing. I hope to see a lot of you in the garden. Thank you again for taking the time out. This is Gardening with Tammy. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.